There's something so calming and grounding about evening routines and rituals. They always offer me a moment of calm and clarity. They dust away the debris of the day that has passed and clear the way for the new day that lay at rest in the womb of the night. Welcome to a calm evening in my life. First things first, new space, new country. I'm back home in Australia, back living at home with my family. I've got another video coming next week, which is like my back home video, but I wanted to make this little evening routine video in the meantime because I want to put more effort into my coming back home video. But I'm just finishing up work for the day now. I've been editing a bit today, sending emails and trying to write scripts for partnerships with brands, and I think I'm finished. I'm feeling like it's the end of the day. I'm trying not to just overwork myself for the sake of overworking myself. Now that I'm working for myself, I have this like pre-existing mold in my head of like, you need to work these hours, and I'm like, girl, chill out, like we don't have to. So let's end the workday and begin the evening. First thing I like to do when I finish work for the day is just clear my workspace. There's just something about a clear and tidy space that makes me so much more likely to want to sit down and use the space when I wake up the next day. And it also just makes me feel so satisfied when I look at my desk and I see all my things in their little places. I'm like, oh, look at you guys get to have your evening as well. It's like I'm giving my objects their own evening routine. I'm excited to give you guys a tour of my bedroom because I feel like so many people that are subscribed to my channel now weren't subscribed to my channel when I lived at home before, so I'm in like a new space to some people, which is exciting. But right now I'm gonna get changed into something a bit more comfy, a bit more free, a bit more flowy, and I'm gonna go outside and enjoy the last daylight, maybe read my book, maybe journal, maybe sketch. I'll take all my activities out and see what I feel like doing. But I'm just trying to prioritize more time for things that aren't work, because I feel like I can kind of fall into this pattern of like spending all of my free time doing things at my laptop, and I'm like, no, let's get outside. Let's go and do things. Frolic time. My life is slowly turning into one color. I'm not going far, I'm just going to the garden, but I like to have all my things packed in a little bag. It's just very satisfying. My nervous system is always so happy when I go outside and just exist. It always feels like such an exhale. And I was journaling and then I got carried away because I was just looking at everything around me and feeling such a sense of like that really like awe and gratitude and contentment. And I wrote in my journal, which I shall read to you. And I said, reminding myself that there is bliss to be found outdoors at every moment. I'm trying to awaken to more of these miraculous moments of presence in the outside world. I can find myself becoming attached to productivity and carving a groove where my work-life balance boundaries are too blurred. Return outside, return to presence, to awe, to wonder. This is also the source of creativity which your work depends on. So does it make sense now that rest is productive? Witness, observe, reflect. Let your senses be touched. The soft shadows, the puddles of light, the texture of bark and lichen, the symphony of birdsong, jittering insects and tousled leaves. Here I lay, embraced by the greatest teacher of all. No computer, no desk, no measure of productivity will ever offer you the gentle inspiration that nature so abundantly shares. I love it when I kind of journal from an outwards perspective, like I'm talking back to myself or like I'm giving myself advice. I find it really comforting, and I've been doing it a lot lately because then I read back on it and I'm like, oh yeah, true, you knew that, like it was inside all along, you just needed to be reminded of it. And sometimes those reminders can come from within, but I feel like that didn't even come from me, that came from nature. But nature is me and I am nature, and it's all so beautiful. This is the thing, I always want to read. I'm trying to make reading more of a hobby in my life because there's so much I want to read and absorb, but I get too carried away in just writing and sitting and feeling, and then I feel like I never have time to read because in my downtime I'm just like, wow, nature. What I'm gonna read. I have this little book called Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. I don't know if that's how you say their last name. I don't know how I came across this book. I think I was looking on Goodreads and then I found this book and it looks really inspiring, so I was like, I need to buy it. And so I bought it and now I just have to read it. But in time, everything in time, it takes me a long time to read. So I feel like I read a paragraph and I'm like, wow, a lot to unpack, a lot to take in there. Always a slow burn. I feel like that's the best way with most things in life. Slowly let things settle. Otherwise you can read something so fast and it's like, did you really take it in? I don't know. What a gorgeous way to end the day though. I feel like I'm so confused seasonally at the moment. I have like seasonception because I was just in winter in London and it was getting dark at like 4 p.m. and then I teleported to Australia, aka flew. And now I'm here and it's summer and it gets dark later in the night and I am very confused because I was just in winter and now I'm in summer. I feel like I need to cocoon a bit more. That's how I'm going to treat this summer though. Someone's having a chat. That's how I'm trying to treat this summer though. Just, yes, hello. How are you trying to treat the summer, crew? But yeah, I'm trying to treat this summer as a winter, if that makes sense, in terms of like just chilling and reading and writing and just cocooning myself in my own like sources of inspiration and creativity, working on little projects, feeling free, making food, just like nourishing myself. I'm getting so sleepy lying out here and chatting. I'm excited to have a shower. This is how I aspire to be this summer. Because I swear you never see a spider actually making its web, but yet they always have these beautifully intricate structures around them. I am going to be making my own spider web this summer. Shower is done, now it is time for skincare. I've been using this serum from In Bloom in the evenings lately. I've got hair in it. Their Kakadu Plum Serum. I'm on the fence with this serum. I think that it's very simple. I think it's just one ingredient or two ingredients. It is Kakadu Plum extract, glycerin and water. But it just feels very like nothing on my face, which I think is the point because the ingredient is very potent, I think. Kakadu plum holds the world's highest source of vitamin C, supported with an abundance of natural antioxidants. But something I do love using in the evening is a face oil. I feel like I can really feel the difference when I moisturize with a face oil at night. It just feels so lush, putting a nice face oil on. Oh, now that feels good. I use the face oil from Ivoris, their 7C Sacred Oil, I think it's called. Love it, my favourite face oil ever. And that's it for my skincare, I think. Sometimes I put a little bit of shea butter on as well, but I think because it's really hot at the moment, I feel like I don't really need it, but I put a little bit on. Just for some extra moisture. Just this little tub of shea butter that I bought from the hair shop in London. And I just use a tiny bit on my face. Just gonna pat it in. And that's my skincare. And then for my body, I just put shea butter on my body. But that's not for your eyes. And that's skincare, shower, done. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Cooking always feels like an act of love, whether you're cooking for yourself or for someone else. Maybe it's the ritual of it, writing the shopping list, finding the ingredients, slicing them slowly, contemplating on each ingredient's journey to my table. The stirring, the simmering, the waiting, the watching. The way simple ingredients transform with heat. The way flavors pair together, the way textures meld and create the most perfect landscapes in your mouth. There's something magical about it, something that feels like home. After dinner, I always like to make myself a pot of tea. This feels like the beginning of my evening to myself, like cocooning in my bedroom. The tea always feels like the start of that chapter of the evening. But I made a chamomile tea this evening. I like to make either chamomile or passion flower or sometimes peppermint tea in the evening. I love using loose leaf teas rather than tea bags as well. I just feel like the tea is better quality, you can make your own blends, and it's just a fun little ritual. I've been really enjoying reading books in the evening that have pictures so that I'm not just reading but I'm taking something in visually as well. There's something so satisfying about like a big coffee table book like this. This one is by Shigeru Ban, a Japanese architect. It's called Humanitarian Architecture, and I really want to invest in some more like big coffee table books that have lots of pictures that I can just sort of flick through, things that I don't have to read in chronological order. I've been looking for books lately on the Faircado app, which is an app that automatically searches the internet for secondhand items and helps find you the best deal, because sometimes I find shopping secondhand online can be a bit of a pain because you have to search through so many different websites and see if you're getting the best deal or not, but Faircado automatically searches for you and then just gives you all of the options in one place, which I find really helpful, especially when I'm looking for secondhand books. But you can also look for all sorts of other secondhand items on there, like clothes or furniture. They have an app which you can use on your phone, and then they also have a browser extension, which is helpful if you're shopping on your laptop. I think it's such a good way to make shopping sustainably a bit easier and less time consuming. You can download the Faircado app for free, and it genuinely just makes shopping sustainably and secondhand so much easier and less time consuming. Journaling is probably one of my most consistent evening practices, and it's something that brings me a lot of calm and clarity. What I journal about in the evening always varies depending on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I find myself getting a huge surge of creative inspiration in the evenings, and I'm starting to come up with video ideas and shots, and I feel like my mind can be very active in the evening sometimes, and when I feel that, I just try and go with it rather than trying to force myself to feel really tired and ready for bed. I'm like, okay, let me just think of the ideas while they're here, while they're coming. If I've had a moment during the day where I've gotten out some of that creative energy, I find my evening journal entries a lot more calm. But I will always write in my journal in the evening how I want the next day to go and what I envision for the next day. I really like waking up the next morning with a sense of purpose and sort of knowing what I'm doing, what my goals are for the day. And when I crystallize that in the evening, it just makes starting a new day a lot more easier for me. I got asked an interesting question about how to make journaling more about reflecting versus ruminating. And I feel like when your journaling practice is anchored in gratitude, it becomes a lot more reflective, because I think that when you're thinking about things through this lens of gratitude, everything just feels a lot lighter, because you might feel like, okay, I'm going through all of this, I'm feeling all of these feelings, there's a lot of heaviness inside of me right now. But when you balance that with gratitude, I think it just uplifts everything, and I think your entries might become more reflective.